maybe 100 feet into this, and I already almost got lost. Gotta go that way. Okay, it's about 6:30. Got less than 2 miles to go to camp, which is at a water source. And hopefully you'll know in a little bit where I am and why I'm hiking. So soon without, even giving an introduction. But 2 miles to camp at 9,000 something feet, I think. I have no idea. We'll do pointing this way. A little more than a mile to camp now. So nice and easy, 6:30. I'm not really paying attention to the trail or what's over there. Over there's Nevada in that bright shit you can't see. And this is Nevada too, yes. But I'm just walking to get it over with at this point. Hopefully tomorrow's better. And the next day is a doozy. We'll talk about that later. It's kind of the point of why I'm here now. That's Galena Falls, or Gelina or something. I didn't take a picture from down at the bottom. I was trying to decide if I was going to go to the top. And I decided to come to the top. I'm almost there. Bye. Well, I made it to a camp. A little further than the camp I expected to make it to. But that's good, except for I passed by the water. I thought there'd be water right next to this site, and there's not. Water's either a 1/10 of a mile-ish back down the trail and downhill, or probably about maybe there might be water a half a mile up the trail. I'm not sure which I'm going to do tomorrow. I have 1.5 liters right now, so we'll see how it goes. I'll decide that in the morning, I think. But there's a nice view of central Nevada, and it's good night time. It wasn't that fun. You spun around and saw me. Well, it's about 8:30, past hiker midnight. I'm tired, it's dark, I'm using my little headlamp. Hiked 2.7 miles today, which is 0.3 further than I was actually planning on going, and a little bit higher elevation. I'm going to have some breathing trouble tonight, but I'm kind of prepared for it. I know what to expect out of that. And I don't know. I walked past water. I'm kind of, it's bedtime. I'm tired. And I'll probably say it again later with more enthusiasm, but this is on the Tahoe Rim Trail. I started at the Mount Rose Trailhead, elevation of 9,000 feet. I'm at 9,252 feet now, climbing up and over Relay Peak tomorrow after dropping back down to the water, which is 0.2 back, downhill. Oh well, it's bedtime. Good night.
That's the view of this morning into Nevada. I'm not sure what town that is down there, but I saw the lights from it last night. That was kind of cool. So it's morning. Got water filtering behind me there. I did have some altitude troubles last night breathing. Around 2 o'clock in the morning it finally settled down and I was actually able to finally get some rest. Up till that point it was just sort of almost gasping for breath every couple of, like 45 seconds to a minute. I'd rest for a little bit and then wake up, and it wasn't very much fun. Wasn't very restful. It's very windy up here. I got about 6 to 7 miles, actually I'll say 7 miles to the next water. There's somebody behind me. I don't like people to know I make videos. I just want to put them on the internet with my name on them and not have anybody know it's actually me. At breakfast, surprised I'm sitting around eating breakfast today because I generally just want to get up and get going. But I think it's because I didn't sleep well with all that gasping and breathing issues. But 7 miles to go today to Gray Lake You're on the Tahoe Rim Trail. Hey, I've announced it, finally. So 7 miles today, and tomorrow is the biggest day that I have planned. 17 miles from one lake to the next. I got water cached about 10 miles into it. And that's kind of the goal of this. Starting at 90, about the same altitude, I got to go up 1,500 feet, then down 1,500 feet to a lake, up and over the highest point on this trail. And I'm gonna see how it goes. I hope it does okay. I'm tired. I'm just not motivated to get out of camp. But it is pretty, so there's that. Well, it's 10 after 10, and I'm finally packed up and ready to go. I'm having some altitude issues that could turn bad, but I know what to do in that case. I'm having trouble breathing, I'm having tightness in my chest, but that's not uncommon and not dangerous. But if I get a headache and start getting dizzy, I shall turn around and go back to the truck. I don't know if I have it in me to go up over 10,000 feet. I thought I might. Well, let's see how this goes. I'm nervous. Well, I've walked half a mile, taking a rest here at a lake that has water. Yay! And deciding what to do. Take the road behind me back down to the trail ahead at 3 miles. I think I'm having altitude sickness problems, which makes it dangerous to go higher. I don't know what altitude I'm at now, but I think it's the highest I've ever hiked, so maybe that's it. But in the rest here, I took some ibuprofen. If your headache doesn't go away with medication, then it's altitude sickness. The hike up here is very hard because of the altitude, and I'm not used to the altitude. It's altitude day. Today, the word of the day is altitude. Well, I have made a decision. I am headed back to the truck down the road. Right there. 3 miles back to the truck, gently downhill. Still having breathing issues, just sitting around. My chest still feels tight, which could just be my heart condition and exercise, but it's happening when I feel when I'm just sitting. Headache comes and goes with and without with medication, so altitude sickness it is. So I'm going to go back to the truck and head to a lower altitude, probably around the lake. And I've already actually used my map book. I used my map book. I'm so proud of myself to find a possible 2-night out and back if I can find parking at a trailhead on a weekend day. That's going to be the hard part. Let's see how it goes. So back to the truck and lower altitude, and then reassess. And that up there is Relay Peak. You know it's Relay Peak because of the way that it is. That is a peak with a relay on it. This is a nice little lake. I think it's Frog Lake. I did hear froggies in there earlier. And birdies. Bye, birdie. Well, this road rock is like a trail. Not hard pavement. It's got rocks, some shade. Not a lot of shade, but some shade. Realized after I've made this decision to come down this way, I could have walked back the other way and actually gotten a picture of the bottom of the falls. Oh well. This way it's a loop rather than an out and back, and loops is better. I dislike hiking the same trail more than once. And even though I've cut this trip short, or changed it significantly, it's not a failure. I now know that starting hiking at 9,000 feet and going up right now is too much. I am encouraged that I thought I could. The rest of the altitude and the climb up to the top of the hill, Relay Peak, the peak with the relay on it, that I thought it was doable. Rather than, no, it's too heavy, it's too far, I can't do it. I could do it. Lower altitude, I could do it. But going up over 10,000 feet, not. And even climbing down, my headache is still present, so going up would have been worse. Not getting better with medication, so it is altitude sickness. I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna get down to the lake at 6,000 feet or so, and maybe go to Spooner Summit and do an out and back out that way, if I can find parking at the trailhead. Maybe. I'll decide what to do when I get down, to the lake. And see what happens to my headache and other stuff. It's Lake Tahoe. It's Lake Tahoe. I can't talk anymore. And I totally blew past the turn off for the alternate to head over to bypass Relay Peak. I think it goes up to that saddle right there, dead center, in like 2 miles. And that just does look steep, don't it? Back to the truck still. The trail I took up to the turnaround spot was a better walk, but it did not have views like this. And this is quite pretty. There's that saddle again where I would have had to try to get up to. And that down there is Tahoe Meadows. You did just see that. Well, I don't know where I am altitude-wise. We do get some nice aspens. Those are pretty. On that side of the road. But my headache is fading. Still have the chest pain. But I'm still not convinced that's not just my heart problem. Almost back to the truck, I think. I don't know. Maybe I can, fold the phone up further and get my face rather than my beard. Aside from the altitude issues, I'm almost back to the truck. I've been most dissatisfied with the selection of songs in the jukebox in my head. I've had Sammy Kershaw, just had C.W. McCall, Convoy, and a few others that I don't want to really remember, but they've not been my favorites. Finally back here, there were in fact good dogs on the trail. Plenty of good dogs. All dogs were good. Well, I made it back to my truck, obviously. I'm sitting in it, down at the Rayleighs in Incline Village, trying to decide what to do. I don't really want to go home just yet. I want to try for a 2-night out and back-ish from Spooner Summit to Marlette Lake or something. But I don't know if this altitude problem is going to continue. It can take up to a couple of days to, go away with rest and lower altitude. But, and the only available campsite I can find is nowhere close to where that trailhead is. So I'm not quite sure what to do. But doing better now down at lake level. So I guess I just sit here in the parking lot a little longer. Well, I came home. The next morning I slept like 10 hours, 12 hours. I was in bed for almost 12. Fitbit said I slept for almost 10 hours. Decided to come home because I didn't really feel like spending $200 for a night in Lake Tahoe, or $50 for a bunk bed. The only other room that was available was like a $139 room that gets terrible reviews. Might be filthy, might be clean, probably one or the other. But I'll try this again at some point. But what I learned from this trip is that my planning was okay. I was prepared for everything. I was happy to go up to the tallest point of that trail. But I picked the hardest part first, which was the mistake. I did not acclimate to the altitude well at all. Now that I've been home, I've been reading a little bit how to do it right, and I did it pretty much wrong all the way. But we'll see how it goes next time. But this is it for that. It's not a failed trip. It was a bad trip, but I had some pretty parts. It's a new moon, and I didn't know that. So the only night out there, got up at 2 o'clock in the morning for a snack, and there was no moon, and there were stars everywhere at 200 feet. It was glorious. Had some nice views of what turned out to be South Reno that night with the lights. So overall, it was pretty good. If I had acclimated better to the altitude, I would have been okay. In fact, today is supposed to be my 17-mile day downhill from one lake to the next. And well, that's not happening. Till next time, maybe.